I've just had some major realizations about how fear patterns have played out in my life and how it had played out my behavior. I used to be more controlling and kind of this manipulative person, and it was really hard for me to accept that. But once I realized the reason behind it was the fear of being left behind, and that's probably because my father died when I was 4, and that left such a big hole. And then I somehow started to think that if I try to live my best, and if someone lives like me, then they will live together with me. And somehow this twisted idea of that I know how things should be, and not considering like empathetically totally the other viewpoint and perspective, because I didn't trust. I was so afraid of losing that person. And eventually what has happened in some of my previous relationship was just that I ended up losing the persons, and it just suddenly clicked. So the question I want you to ask yourself is that how are some of the fear patterns playing out in your life? And when you kind of get a small glitch of, wow, it might be this, it usually triggers a fear, because you get like, whoa, I can't talk about this. I can't say this. And that's exactly what happened to me. But I've decided to be brave and kind of face these things, because otherwise I will never get over it. But it helped me so much when I realized that my behavior has been based on fear and not love and acceptance and understanding. I then understand how I can change. I've seen it playing out in my life when I have a partner who wants to do something that's totally different than the lifestyle that I want to live. And it kind of signals a fear to me. And now I've realized this and I understand, like, wow, that's so stupid, because the solution is super simple. And that is to see things as opportunities. Because now when I see that I get an opportunity to watch and witness someone else's life the way they would live, if even if I wasn't there, that becomes super interesting. And I feel stupid and a bit ashamed that I've been so arrogant and thought that I somehow know how the best way to live is, and that I know the best things. And clearly my life isn't perfect, and I kind of know straight away that I don't know that. But somehow my mind has kept the illusion, this illusion of greatness. I don't know if it's narcissism, but probably like traits towards that. And now when I'm really starting to open up, and it feels fucking scary to even talk about these things, but I realize that I have to do this. And only by having these kind of reasons, and that I see the pattern, how it has played out, I can actually accept it. And probably I will start to catch myself if I start behaving in certain ways. And that's kind of the way to find yourself, because once you become more self-aware, and in my case I put so much energy and power into the external things that I actually didn't work on myself. And now when I've started to consciously decide that I work on myself, these things come up. And being vulnerable, that's like the essential part of any kind of healing and progress. But it's one thing to be vulnerable to other people, but to actually be vulnerable to yourself, that you have the guts to admit that you were wrong, that you failed, and that you may have behaved really bad in a negative way, that's crazy. And I wouldn't dare to do it if I didn't know and trust that it's the right thing to do, because the whole issue has come because of lack of trust. So seeing things as opportunities and trusting that they're good, that you actually gain something from it. And then the question you want to ask yourself is, how does different fears play out in your life? Because you might know that you're afraid of something, but how does it play out in your life? And once you start becoming aware of that, that's the real change. And that's how it feels to me, that like these breakthroughs, when I get them, it's like, whoa, it releases something that I didn't even know that needed to be released. But deep down, I would never want to control or manipulate anyone. But when I understand why I've done it, I understand also that I've been so unconscious, I haven't realized what I'm doing. And now I realize, and I'm like, shit, that's not how I want to live. And this is being kind of this shadow work, and kind of going inwards to really find out who I am and what kind of traits and habits and personality I have. And that's the only way I can change it. Everyone wants to be a good person, but still, a lot of people aren't. They may think they are, and I'm sure I thought I was a really good person and that I didn't have negative traits, but that's the mind illusion. I just felt really called to do this.